I've been using Claude for the last 1 year. That means I've been paying for the Claude subscription for more than a year now, as you can see on my screen. I use Claude for everything: writing, competitor analysis, Instagram analysis, even building small artifacts or even building projects. And when I'm coding for miles, I even use Claude for that. So Claude has been my daily driver for more than a year now. So I decided to create a video on how you can use Claude and become a pro in using Claude. And they launch something new every second week, so it's very tough to keep up with all the things. But I have created an explainer video of the things till now which have come out, which have changed how people actually work. It includes Claude Code, it includes Cowork, and it includes the basic Claude Chat. So hi guys, I'm Nishant Chahar. Welcome back to the channel. Let's start the video. So if you don't know about what Claude is, then Claude is similar to ChatGPT. It is an LLM. It is owned by a company called Anthropic. They build different type of models. There are basically 3 models as of now: Opus, Sonnet and Haiku. Opus is their most premium flagship model, which can do amazing tasks at an amazing speed. Then comes Sonnet. Sonnet is in the middle. It can do a lot of things, but it cannot do a lot of heavy lifting, but it is cheaper. Opus is super expensive. And the third one is Haiku. Haiku is okay for most small tasks. If you want to like chat about something, if you want to know about news, if you want to automate small tasks, Haiku is good for that. But like it's very cheap and it's not that amazing. So that is how the models work. So I've shared my screen. I'll walk you through everything, whatever there is on Claude to know about, and all the things that you need to learn how to use it. And it's going to be super fun because I love using Claude. As you can see, I've been paying for Claude for the last almost 1 year. And when we go to the chat, you can see there are basically multiple models which you can see here. There are 3 models, as I told you: Haiku, Sonnet and Opus. The latest one is 4.6. The Opus 4.6, Sonnet 4.6 and Haiku 4.5. Haiku was launched recently, I think 1.5 months back. Before that, we only had Sonnet and Opus. Most people think of Claude as very similar to ChatGPT or Gemini, with a chat interface where you can ask questions and it will answer you. But Claude is much more than that. The chat interface is just the level 1. There are basically 3 levels and we'll be talking about all the 3 levels in this video. Level 1 is your Claude Chat, level 2 is your Claude Code, and level 3 is your Claude Cowork. And add connectors, MCPs and all these things, you give Claude superpowers. Claude Chat is where most people start and they stop there. But I'll tell you some amazing tricks or amazing things that you can actually use in Claude Chat and build, get answers. There's so many things which are hidden, and if you follow people on Twitter or if you follow things, you'll only know then. So we'll start with level 1. We'll start with the Claude Chat, how you can use Claude Chat to the maximum potential. Let me show you how people are actually getting results through Claude Chat when they use it at its full potential. Because there is a massive gap between how normal people use it and how pro users use it. So this is the web interface of Claude. I've also opened the macOS app, which will be used for Claude Code and Cowork. But let's start with the normal basic web app, which most of the users watching this video might use and are using currently. So look at this prompt. I'm a freelance designer. My client hasn't replied to my proposal in 6 days. Write an 80-word follow-up that nudges her towards her decision. Not desperate, not pushy, just warm message. And I'll use Claude Sonnet for this. So it is not a very difficult task. Using Opus will eventually be wasting the power of Opus and actually wasting our tokens as well. Once you write the prompt in a specific format, the output that you get is much better. If you would have written, just write me a reply without any more details, then it would have given you a very random message. And as you can see, you also get an option to send it via Gmail, because I've added my connectors to this. We'll talk about that later. But hi name, just wanted to check in the proposal I've sent over the last week. Happy to answer any questions or tweaks, anything before you decide. I have some availability opening up soon and would love to hold a spot for your project if the timing works. No pressure at all. Just let me know either way. Your warm regards and your name. So the mention of availability opening up does light work here. It creates soft, natural reason to act without feeling like pressure. And either way also signals that it's okay if you say no too. There is a very basic formula that you need to follow: context, task and format. So what exactly is the context? If you have an email thread with the client, it would have helped for sure. And then give the task. What exactly task do you want Claude or any LLM to perform, specifically Claude here. And finally, the format in which you want the output. And this is how you frame your prompt. I also created a video on prompt engineering a while back. You can definitely check it out. I think it needs a refresh, and if you think it needs a refresh, comment refresh on that video and I'll create a new one. Now, the second thing that comes is projects. So we'll open the app itself, which is much more better to use in general. So here you can create multiple projects. So I've created some projects. For example, I've created a EF investor chat. When we were preparing for our IC, we created an investor chat. We dumped all the documents related to EF that we had, that they had shared, with all the investor questions, all the investor answers. How do you format a pitch, blah blah blah, so that when we are answering the questions, we are actually using the right format, and when we are structuring our answers, we are using the right format. Similarly, I have a LinkedIn content writer, I have a YouTube content writer. I created another project related to a website which I took as an inspiration and created Miles homepage and website. There was a prompt engineering one which I created a long back. There's an Instagram Reels one, and I create a lot of projects. Now it's not that much required because most of the tasks I do are either on Cowork or on Claude Code, and I also use anti-gravity a lot, but I use Opus in anti-gravity, so it does the work. So what do projects do actually? So projects have a consistent memory. When you are chatting with Claude, the problem is for every new chat there is a new context window, and whatever you have said is stored in the memory somehow, but the original context is not there. So it loses all its context. But there are some specific tasks that you need to do. For example, for me, it's writing LinkedIn content or writing YouTube scripts or writing Instagram Reels. So I've created specific projects for these, and when I have to do any work, I actually go here, I give it more context, give it what I want to write the content on, and it writes the content for me. As you can see, I've been using it for quite a long time, and it helps because it has the previous context, it has my writing style, how I actually write it, and it also has all the information about me. As you can see, I have created a memory for this. I have also added all the LinkedIn posts, content ideas, brand briefs, and everything that it requires. And you can also create multiple projects for whatever thing you are doing right now. For example, you are studying for an exam, and if you want to put all the context related to that exam, the previous year questions, the study material that you have, you can put everything here. And whenever Claude needs something from the memory, it will go and fetch that and use it for you. Then there comes extended thinking. For example, I have a new chat. Here you can see extended thinking option. If you turn it off, it will not think longer. If you turn it on, it will actually think longer for a lot of tasks. What extended thinking does is it actually recalibrates, rethinks of the decisions it has taken, goes through it, checks it one by one, and actually then decides if the answer which was there is right or not. So it thinks like a human and then gives you an answer. If you don't use extended thinking, it will just give you the answer that comes first, and that is the major difference between it. It will not actually contemplate and think about the decision it has taken. And in this way, when you use extended thinking, it actually does that. For example, I want to check why the markets are down today. So what I can do is, why is the Indian stock market down today? So this prompt is not that amazing. What we can do is we can actually add a few more things. As I said, add context, add task, and then add format. So what I want it to do is, I want Claude to act like an analyst, financial analyst, and help me understand why the Indian stock market is down today, and I'll do enter. So I have turned on extended thinking. As you can see, it is actually thinking what is happening, searching the web, and then summarizing everything. So one suggestion, if you are on a pro plan or a max plan, then it is fine, you can actually use extended thinking, but your credits that you have, the tokens that you have, runs out faster than a normal chat. So use it only for things where you think extended thinking will help. And if you think extended thinking will not help for generic answers or generic post generations or things like that, don't use it. So now what Claude has started doing is it actually asks you a few questions, and when you answer those questions, it improves the answer that it is giving you and gives you more like targeted answers for you specifically. So as I answered the few questions, I can actually see what it was thinking, which all websites it checked, and actually drafted a more in-depth answer for me. So we have talked about Claude Chat, we have talked about projects, we have talked about extended thinking. Now there is one more amazing thing which Claude has, which is called artifacts. I have been using artifacts for almost like 5-6 months now. What artifacts actually do is you can create small apps, small mini apps for your specific tasks. So what I use artifact for is when I want to create a UI, a new UI screen or a new UI in general, what I do is I ask Claude to create an artifact for me. When it creates an artifact, it actually gives me a basic idea how the UI will look before actually coding it down inside my app. So I get the basic feel of the UI, how it will look actually in my app. I use artifacts for that, and I also create small mini apps which I use for myself. So I have created an artifact for LinkedIn post. I have given it basic ideas what I want in that particular LinkedIn post, what I want to talk about. But Claude actually structures everything, writes down in my writing style, and gives me the final post. I have a copy button on the artifact. I copy it and I paste it, and that's how I post LinkedIn posts. I've been doing that for almost a year now. And it's very simple. Whenever you want to create an artifact, you just have to ask Claude to create an artifact. So create an artifact for this information which I can share with other people. So it will create an artifact from this now. So artifact can be of many different formats. It can actually be just a .md file. It can actually be a web page. It can actually be a doc file. You can specify what you want, but if you don't specify, Claude will decide on its own what exactly it is and will code it out for you. Most of the times it now has started creating web pages instead of writing like .md files. If you specifically ask Claude to write .md files, it will do that. So to enable this, what you have to do is you have to go to your settings, go to capabilities, and in capabilities, you'll have to turn on artifacts. Ask Claude to generate content like code snippets, text documents, website designs. Claude will create an artifact that appears in a dedicated window alongside your conversation. If you don't have this turned on, it is basically turned on all the time. But you can turn it off as well. There are also AI powered artifacts. Create apps, prototypes, and interactive documents that use Claude inside the artifact. Start by saying, let's build an AI app to access this feature on Claude. So you can turn this on when you go in the settings. Also, you can find all the artifacts that you have created here. So these are all the artifacts that I have created in the past. A lot whenever I have to like prototype for my app, whenever I have to write down a document, and for things like that. For example, this is one of the artifacts that I created recently, and it opens up something like this. These are all the LinkedIn posts that I've thought for the next 1 month, and this is the artifact that it has created. Now comes another important thing which was launched recently, which is called skills, which you can use inside Claude. So it gives powers to your Claude. So LLMs can only give you input and output in text, right? And it can only understand text. But when you are actually creating a web page, for example, there are certain tools and certain things that you need. So skills is a predefined set of document which is in a markdown format, which gives it a set of instructions whenever you want to create something new, but you have already done that before or someone has done that before, you can use that skill. So I will show you how you can actually add skills or create your own skills as well. So you have to go to your settings. In your settings, go to capabilities, and in capabilities, you'll find skills. So here all the skills you can see. You have to go to skills and you can add all the skills. Some of the skills are directly given by Claude itself, like given by Anthropic. You can add all the skills. So I've added a canvas design skill, MCP builder skill, skill creator, which can actually help you create your skills. There's theme factory, there's web artifacts, and all these that I have created myself. You can add more skills. You can click on a skill, create a skill with Claude. Let's create a skill together. So as I have added a skill writer skill in this, it can actually help me write skills. I know it is very confusing, but this is how it works. And if you want to create your own skills, you can go to code.claude.com/doc/en/skills, and you'll find all the information around how you can build your skills. So you can extend Claude skills with this. You can actually give this to Claude and ask it to generate the skills that you want, and that is what people are doing as well. Or you can go to Google and ask and search for Claude skills. You'll find multiple public repositories. So this is one of the public repos created by Anthropic itself, and you'll also find other like people creating different type of skills. So as you can see, here are some of the skills that you can actually copy from. These are the same which I showed you inside the Claude app. If you are in this video till now, I think you are really interested in AI and you are really interested in whatever things are going around in AI. So I've created a community for people who are interested in AI updates and what all you can actually do with AI. And also for people who want to build their startup. I recently raised from Entrepreneurs First. I was a part of their fall cohort, and I am going to SF for the demo day in a few months. So I'll be sharing a lot of amazing experience and things which I actually cannot share on YouTube. I'll be sharing in that community. So the link to that community is in the description. Definitely join that. So for example, I want to create a skill. This is how I can do it. I have sent this to Claude. I want to create a skill to create metadata for my YouTube videos after I paste the YouTube script inside the Claude Chat. So this is what we'll do. I want to create a skill for YouTube metadata creation from the script of my YouTube video. So now Claude will design some questions for me and then help me create the skill So here are the questions. What metadata do you want to create? I want to create the title, description, tags, thumbnail text, chapter and timestamps. How will the scripts will be provided? I'll paste in the chat. Should the output be tailored to your personal brand? Yes, it should be. And that is it. Now it will write the skill document for me. How many titles should I generate? I think it should generate 3 titles. What's your typical video description? I want medium with CTAs. For chapter and timestamp, does your script have natural sections or breaks? Should the skill infer that? Yes, it has clear sections and headers as well. So great, I have everything I need. Let me write the skill for you. So now it will write the skill for me. So you can actually search for more skills on GitHub itself. I found this awesome Claude skills by Composio, and you have different skills from what you have been provided by Anthropic. And similarly, you can find more skills. It is Claude scientific skill, which you can use in Claude to get actual scientific data and actual scientific things if you're interested in any of these. So these skills will enable AI agent to seamlessly work with your specialized scientific libraries, databases, tools across multiple scientific domains, while the agent can use Python packages or APIs on its own. These explicitly define skills, provided curated documentation examples that makes it significantly stronger and more reliable for your workflows. Cool. So similarly, you can just go and search for Claude skills and you will find a lot of these. Try to use those which already have a lot of stars or shares, and if you find something really interesting, do check it doesn't have something suspicious or malware, because inside the Claude skills people can actually prompt inject a lot of things. So you only use skills from the sources, like from credible sources. Don't download or don't copy skills randomly, because it can actually Cowork can actually get inside your PC, get a lot of stuff, and can actually get some private data as well. So yeah, we have got the Claude skill. Great. I will copy to your skills and it will add it to my skills. Copy to your skills, manage, and as you can see, I've created my own skill, which was YouTube metadata. I can edit it if I want to. I can actually go here. If I want to edit this, I can download the skill and actually edit the metadata. I can actually go and edit this, so if I want to, but this is how you actually create skills and you can publish these skills. Now comes level 2, which is Claude Code. Claude Code can understand code. It has multiple tools. So there is one problem with LLMs, that they can only take input and output in text format and they can only understand that. But when you're writing code, most of the things are not just text, right? So what Claude Code does, it has a set of tools which it uses with the LLM. So it when you give any prompt, it goes to the LLM, it decides which tool it wants to use, then the tool is called, the output from the tool is given back to the LLM, and the final output then is generated. And that is how Claude Code works in a very simple manner. So Claude Code is an amazing extension of Claude, and it is used to create amazing websites. And like if you have any idea in your mind, you can actually use Claude Code to build it. How you can access it? There are 2-3 ways to do it. The most easiest way is actually inside the app that you have downloaded from Anthropic. If you have not downloaded the app, this is how you can do it. I'll just tell you. When you go to Claude, you can actually just click on get apps and extensions, and you can actually download it for your mobile, you can download the terminal, you can download it for Chrome, and you can download it for extensions as well. Unfortunately, the app is not available for free users, it's only for Pro and Max users. But you can add it to your, you can add Claude Code to your terminal, your VS Code, your desktop app, like for desktop app if you have it, or Slack, or anywhere else. And you can also add it in your Chrome extension. So once you do that, if you don't have this, I'll show you how you can do the same thing in the terminal. This is your terminal. Go to the code directory that you want to. For example, I want to go to this directory and I want to go to this app. Okay. So what I'll do next is I'll just write Claude here and my Claude Code will start. So Claude may read files, access, blah blah blah, things like that. I'll just have to say proceed, and I have my Claude Code inside this particular repo. What I can do more now is, whenever you start Claude, the first thing that you should do is dash init. It will initialize a new claude.md file and create a documentation for itself around the code base. I think my login is, I've logged out. I'll just log in and I can do init again and it will start. Similarly, you can do the same thing here. You'll have to select a folder. These are some of the folders that I've created. I created a new Twitter scraper for myself. I'll just give it permission here. Ask for permission every time. There are more options I just don't want. I'll create an init inside this as well. So Claude Code itself is a very big video. If you want me to create a video on Claude Code, I will do that. I recently completed a course from Anthropic as well, and I have a ton of information and ton of experience on Claude Code because I've been using it as my auditor. Honestly, I use Claude Code to like audit whatever the other LLMs have written. So it acts as a code reviewer for me. Also, there are so many things that you can actually do with, there are things like hooks, there are things like commands. You can create your own commands which will run for after a specific thing that happens. And whenever I do slash, these are all the commands that you have. You can start a new agent if you want to like manage the configuration of any agent. There are so many commands that are already there, but you can create your own commands as well. It is very similar to creating a skill. And yeah, this is pretty much it. Then there are small things whenever you are asking Claude to do something. What you can do is you can write ultra think and it will use a lot more tokens, but it will think for more. It is similar to extended thinking, but ultra thinks gives it more power for like doing any job. There are different levels to this. Ultra think is the maximum thinking level that you can use. There are like think harder as well, think longer, and these are the things that you can actually use. So do let me know if you want a dedicated video on Claude Code, but this is the basic about it. I'll just exit and I'll quit from from here, and this has created the .md file. I'll allow. And if you use Claude Code inside the app, you also get a preview option. If you have any repo that you want to run and see how it will look, you can actually use the preview option to do the same. Now comes the level 3, which is your Claude Cowork with your MCPs and your connectors. You can connect multiple different apps, you can add MCPs to it, and then use Cowork for a lot of things. We'll jump to it. I'll just stop this so that it doesn't use all my tokens. So for using Claude Cowork, you need a $20 plan. You cannot use it on the free version as of now. So if you have spent the $20 for this, then definitely watch this video or skip to the next part of the video where I'll be talking about the roadmap which you can use to learn more about Claude and Claude Code and how you can improve yourself or get yourself to the level of what people are doing right now. First, we will talk about connectors. You can go here and manage all the connectors that you have. I have added Gamma connector, GitHub connector, Appify, Claude Code, and like Claude in Chrome, your Claude in Chrome, and there are so many other connectors that you can add. You can click on this, browse connectors, and you'll find a bunch of connectors. Like there's so many connectors, and you can use these connectors directly from here itself. Before moving forward, what exactly is Cowork? So Claude Code is a place where people who know how to code and have basic understanding of coding can create apps, do a bunch of things. But for normal people who don't know how to code or who don't have any idea about coding, Anthropic recently launched Cowork, which gives it access to a bunch of things, and people can build small apps, people can organize things, people can do data analysis, and all this using connectors, skills, and MCPs. So what exactly is an MCP? MCP is a model context protocol. What do you mean by it? Like in a very simple language, it is very similar to classes. If you know basic coding, then you must know about classes, right? One class can inherit a different class, and the parent class has some functions written which can be inherited directly by the child class. It is as simple as that. So what do I mean by this? An MCP, so there are two parts of MCP. The first one is the client, the second one is the server. The client is you when you are using any MCP, and the second, the server is the MCP server provided by a third party provider. For example, as you can see, all these are MCP servers. They are connectors. They're also called connectors, but most of them are MCP servers. As you can see, MCP server that enables Claude to interact with your Windows laptop. And you will find this in the description. For example, Tableau and MCP server for Tableau provides a suite of tools that make it easier for developers to actually use Tableau. Every MCP server has three things: tools, your prompts, and your resources. That is what constructs an MCP server. What do I mean by each of these? Tools. So as I told you, LLMs can only use text as input and output. So if they want to do some task, they need tools. So all these tools are packaged as an MCP server, which the other third party company has created. Second is prompt. For each of the specific tasks that you have to do, there needs to be a specific prompt with all the details, the context, the task, and the format. That is written itself in the MCP server. If you have to do it, then you have to write it for all the tools or all the prompts or all the things that you have to do. And the third one is resources. Resources can be the access to the database, the access to the network, and things like that. And these are the resources, and this is what constitutes a MCP server. For a very simple example, think of GitHub. GitHub has so many tasks. You can create a new repo, you can commit to a repo, you can create a new issue, you can resolve an issue, and things like that, right? So if you have to create an interface directly for this GitHub, you'll have to write prompts for each specific use case, and there will be so many use cases, but GitHub has done this already, right? That is how they are using it. So what they have done is they have wrapped this around a MCP server and provided you the MCP server. Whenever you are giving any task, the LLM is deciding which MCP server it should call. It gives all the context to that particular MCP server. the MCP server does the task and gives the result back to you. And that is how all of this works. I think I've extended a lot of things, but yeah, so you have so many connectors that you can use. I have only added a few connectors. I don't want to give a lot of access, but yeah, you can add N8N, you can add Google Drive, you can add Make, you can add PayPal, you can add Glean. There's so many. And the MCP servers, like companies are creating more and more MCP servers. So it is basically you can add multiple MCP servers here. That is your first thing. You can even create your custom MCP servers as well. You can create an MCP server and give access to the MCP server here. And if you want to learn more about MCPs, do let me know. We'll create a dedicated video around Claude Code and MCP servers. Now let's go back. So this is your Claude Code. You can do so many things. For example, I'll show you one thing. So this is how my document folders looks like. So there are so many PDFs, so many files, so many images. What I want Claude Cowork to do is actually analyze it and structure it and like create folders for it. So what will I do is I'll give it access to the folder, which is downloads. I'll open it, I'll allow, and what I want it to do is analyze it and structure all the files in folders, and that is it. Now it will spawn up an agent. The agent will analyze everything, and then after the analysis it will do the task that I have given it. As you can see here, you can see the progress. Here is the context. I have not given it any context, and here is the Claude MD description. The folder contains marketing campaign briefs written for external agencies, blah blah blah. This is not for me, I think. Which folder would you like me to analyze? The folder I selected. What do you mean by structure? Organize into subfolders by categories and types. Yes, and it will start working. Large folder, 1685 files. Let me do a deeper analysis. It is doing a deeper analysis. Ran the script, found so many PDFs. So it has found all the things in the download. It will create a finance folder, document folder, image folder, video, blah blah blah, and it will do that. I'll say yes, and it will do it for me. And this is what Cowork is, and because of this you can do a lot of things. You can analyze a lot of documents as well. If you have a lot of financial data from the companies that you want to analyze, you can actually put all that data inside here and it will analyze it for you. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So we have talked about so many things in this video. We have talked about Claude Chat, we have talked about skills, we have talked about MCPs, we have talked about connectors, we have talked about your Claude Code, we have also talked about Claude Cowork. So if you want a detailed video on any of these topics, do let me know. I'll create that. I'm planning a video on Claude Code for sure, because it will help people like you who are developers who want to build their own personal brand, or if you want to do indie hacking to actually get started using Claude. So for you, if you are pretty new to all this, do one thing: start from the very basics. Start with just using Claude Chat, do basic tasks, start adding, try adding skills to it, then try adding connectors to it, and then start giving it more tasks. When you are done with this, when you are actually able to understand, you are able to write good prompts, you are actually able to get data out of things, you can actually jump to Claude Code. And then from Claude Code, you can actually try Cowork as well. So it has moved everything. I'll show you the folder as well. This is my downloads folder now. And all this was done with just single prompt. So LLMs are actually powerful. It would have taken me easily an hour to sort this and put all the things in different folders, and it was done in maybe like 2 to 3 minutes. So that's why the Indian IT sector also crashed. So, but yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I have given some value in this video. I tried to crumble in as much information as I can, but I have so much more to talk about. So if you want to learn more, do let me know, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.